the news tonight. Youths protest Naira and fuel scarcity in Osrc. Ondo State Governor inaugurates hostel complex named after mother in Akungba. PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar takes rally to Northeast. And from the foreign scene, Turkey announces 3-month state of emergency in Quebec area. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. We begin tonight with the fuel scarcity and Naira swap situation in the country. Youths in Osrc, Odigbo Council area of Ondo State, have staged a peaceful protest along Benin-Lagos Highway against scarcity of Naira notes and fuel. The protest caused heavy gridlock along the highway and left travelers plying the route stranded for hours. The protesters converged on the overhead bridge and blocked the road, thereby grounding social and economic activities in the commercial center. They vowed not to vacate the road until the federal government finds a lasting solution to the fuel and Naira scarcity in the country. Transporters and drivers plying the road lamented the blockade while expressing dissatisfaction over the recent hardship ravaging the country. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has met privately with the chairman of Nigeria Governors Forum, Aminu Tambuwal, and chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Atiku Bagudu, over the scarcity of the new Naira notes. Also in attendance at the meeting was the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Godwin Emefiele, chairman of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdulrasheed Bawa, as well as the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo. The presence of the CBN governor gave indications that the meeting was organized to discuss the cash swap policy, which has for days elicited public outcry, particularly from the governors. The president had on February 3 met with the governors of all Progressives Congress, and some of the governors had asked the president to intervene to allow both old and new notes to circulate to ease cash crunch recorded across the country. Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has commissioned a 50 self-contained hostel complex built in honor of his late mother, Lady Evangelist Grace Bosede Akeredolu. The facility, located close to Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko, was put in place by Mr. Peter Fashua. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole reports that the governor was accompanied by family members and some members of the State Executive Council.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu was accompanied by some of his siblings, including Professor Oluwole Akeredolu and Toyin Akeredolu, as well as some members of the State Executive Council, to Akungba Akoko for the inauguration of a 50 self-contained hostel complex built by Mr. Peter Fashua in memory of Mama Grace Akeredolu. In his address of welcome, the property owner, Mr. Fashua, said he named the edifice after the late mother of the governor in recognition of her efforts to impact society positively. Fashua, who commended the governor for advancing the state, said the facility will solve some accommodation challenges in Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko.
Hostel accommodation has been a major area of concern with growing student population in Adekunle Ajasin, Akungba over the years. This informed my decision to name this 50 self-contained planned hostel complex after our dearest mother.
In their messages of goodwill, Vice Chancellor of the Adekunle Ajasin University, Akungba Akoko, Professor Olugbenga Ige, Deji of Akure, Oba Aladetoyinbo Aladelusi, and Alale of Akungba Akoko, Oba Sunday Adeyeye, commended the initiative while noting its importance.
She did well when she was alive. That's why we are celebrating her today.
Adekunle Ajasin University brought this. Akungba community were very, very grateful to me.
Though not inside our campus, but it's very close to the university campus. And I have very firm belief that it's going to serve the purpose of accommodation for most of our students.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who applauded Mr. Fashua for his love and support for the Akeredolus, said the family never expected such honor for the late lady evangelist. Hence, we remain grateful for the gesture.
This is not a simple edifice. It's an edifice that all of us are part of. In cemeteries, we have the big cage in our name there. But we who did it as children are biological. So we are, as people say, from a womb. We are children from the same tribe. But when you have somebody who comes out and you don't need to tell us, I can assure you, everything we do, henceforth, will be invited as the main child of Mama.
The governor urged students of the Citadel of Learning to make good use of the facility. The event was also used to honor deserving individuals for their roles in societal development, especially in Ondo State. From Akungba Akoko, Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Now talking politics, residents of Ondo State in the Northern Senatorial District have been urged to vote for the candidates of All Progressives Congress APC at next month's general elections. Leader of the party and governor of the state, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, at the party's campaign rally held at the Methodist Church Open Ground in Owo, said a vote for the ruling party is a vote for a better future. The governor, will express satisfaction at the large turnout of party loyalists and faithful, appealed to the electorate to be committed to the project of redefining governance in the state and Nigeria by voting en masse for the APC. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole again reports that the rally was also used to receive the campees from the opposition party to the ruling party.
Tàbí pé ká tọ́jú ọmọ ẹgbẹ́, ká tọ́jú ará ìlú, ká tọ́jú onílé, ká tọ́jú àlejò. Àwọn PDP Conservative àpò wọn náà máa ń kówó ìlú sí. Wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ tá máa rí. Tinubu ló wà l'Ábùjá. Ẹnu kan ni Akérédolú á pè é pé ìkan báyìí làwọn èèyàn mi fẹ́. Tó bá dẹ̀ ti sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, àṣẹ́kùn. Ẹ má jẹ́ àdìbò ọ̀tẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ ká dìbò yìí from top to bottom. Tábà ti kúrò ń bí lẹ́ni iṣẹ́ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ká lọ sí yúnítì wa ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣiṣẹ́ lágbára Ọlọ́run á fún wa ṣe o.
Àwa South Tinubu wa ṣe tó bá parí tiẹ̀ ó lè wá padà sí North. Ṣẹ́gun ọdún sọ ibi tó parí ìyẹn Nàìjíríà lẹ́ni ó yẹ kí ó wá mọ̀ pé àwa ló kàn. Abẹ́ni mo kúrò.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Sálọ́kàn.
Àwa ló kàn.
Sálọ́kàn.
Àwa ló kàn.
Tó bá kàn wá ẹnu orí sókè. Àwa ó kà o. Àwa ó kà o. Àwa ó kà o. Àwa ó kà o. Jẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n, àwa ó kà.
Elsewhere, PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has visited Bauchi to flag off his campaign in the northeast. The Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium was full to capacity, while outside the stadium were thousands of excited supporters who came out to welcome the former vice president. He was received by Bauchi state government officials led by Governor Mohammed. Equally, the PDP gubernatorial candidate alongside party executives and other critical stakeholders of the state. The Waziri Adamawa Anis has paid homage to the Emir of Bauchi, Dr. Riowanu Adamu, before moving to the stadium where thousands of PDP supporters were already waiting. In the meantime, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has hailed the judgment of the Supreme Court after the Apex Court affirmed his candidacy as the authentic APC candidate for Yobe North in the February 25 election. Lawan described the verdict a victory for democracy and praised the APC leadership for taking it upon itself to approach the Supreme Court following the Court of Appeal's decision recognizing Bashir Machina as the party's senatorial candidate. Delivering the judgment, 3 out of the 5-member panel agreed with the APC that the suit other trial courts ought not to have commenced via an originating summons since it contained allegations of fraud. Meanwhile, Nuhu Aldu, campaign coordinator for Bashir Machina campaign team, has described the Supreme Court judgment devastating to anyone committed to justice and fairness. Aldu tagged the judgment unprecedented and unfortunate in the political history of Nigeria. Not leaving politics yet, the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the People's Democratic Party (PDP) not to make an attempt at suspending or expelling Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State from the party. The court made the order following an expert motion filed by Wike. Justice James Omotosho ordered all parties in the suit to maintain peace and refrain from any action or step or act that may make the outcome of the motion or notice nugatory and worthless. The court adjourned till February 14 for further hearing. You're watching the news at 7 on OSRC television. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back to serve you more stories. Please stay with us. Thank you for rejoining us. You can also watch us live on our website, www.osrc.ng, or follow us on Facebook, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. Now to the rest of the news. Ondo State House of Assembly has directed chairmen of the 18 local government areas of the state to ensure symbiotic relationship with their councillors to further entrench development at the grassroots. Speaker of the House, Bamidele Olelogun, during an interface with the chairmen from all council areas in Ondo State, said the House will not tolerate anything that would jeopardize peace and development in the state. The report is presented from our studio.
The roles of local government administration in the development of the grassroots remain important. This informed the meeting between the leadership of the Ondo State House of Assembly and the chairman of the 18 local governments of the state after the intervention of the lawmakers in the larger local government administration crisis. The Speaker, Bamidele Olelogun, in a resolution charged the local government chairman to run an open door administration to further entrench good governance at the grassroots. The House also resolved that chairmen of local government should organize seminars between the two arms of government with a view to improving on knowledge of good legislative practices, while regular briefings on state of affairs by the chairmen should be encouraged in all the local governments of the state.
All the chairmen of local government must endure to run an open door administration with a view to carry along the councillors. For this will ensure probity, accountability, and transparency in their financial transactions generally. 3. That henceforth, all the chairmen should involve their councillor in all official activities in their various local governments. 4. That if need arises, committee can be inaugurated by the chairman to clear doubt on some given areas and issues.
While noting that the House will not hesitate to impose sanctions in the interest of peace and stability of the state, the House called on all secretaries in the 18 local government areas to rise to their responsibilities by acting as fulcrum for positive development.
Councillors should be encouraged by the chairman of the local government to enact bylaw that will improve the revenue generation in their various councils. 8. That henceforth they should be maintained between the executive members and the councillor in all 18 local governments of the state.
The Minister of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs was also encouraged to create avenue that will improve relationship among the 18 local governments and the State House of Assembly.
Moving on to the foreign scene, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has announced a 3-month state of emergency in 10 provinces was affected by an earthquake that has killed thousands. Mr. Erdogan said the death toll in Turkey has risen to 3,549 people and more than 1,600 people are reported to have died in Syria. In a televised address, Mr. Erdogan said the state of emergency is to ensure that rescue work can be carried out quickly in the country's southeast. He said the measures would allow relief workers and financial aid into the affected regions. The state of emergency will end just before elections on May 14, when Mr. Erdogan will attempt to stay in power after 20 years. In a related development, Syria's war-torn city of Aleppo is among the areas to have borne the brunt of a deadly earthquake, which also devastated southern Turkey. More than 1,400 people have been reported dead so far in northern Syria following the quake. Emergency teams said many buildings were destroyed and that people were trapped under the rubble with downpours making rescue attempts difficult. Akintunde Akinshomola has detail.
On the streets of northwest Syria, children are wailing, buildings are flattened, and local hospitals are full of bodies. The cause, a devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake that hit the country. It was a painfully familiar sight for many Syrian families and rescuers exhausted by what has been nearly 12 years of bombardment and displacement. Mounds of concrete steel wrapped in bundles of cloth lay where multi-story buildings once stood. In the rebel shelter of Jindares in Aleppo province, Hamdel Ashi is desperately searching for his family.
I'm waiting to pull out my brother and his family, him and his 7 children. They pulled out someone, but it was not them. They took him and went away. Each is pulling out his own. May God help us.
Millions in northwest Syria have been left vulnerable by years of conflict. According to the United Nations, strikes and shellings have already traumatized the population and weakened the foundation of many buildings. The following distressing and graphic images show a man sobbing into a bundle of sheets inside his newborn baby, held after a building collapsed. The following distressing and graphic images show a man sobbing into a bundle of sheets inside his newborn baby, held after a building collapsed. The White Helmet Rescue Service, founded in rebel held territory to treat those hurt in bombardment, assisted with such efforts. The service said volunteers are in a race against time. The cold weather has added another challenge for the rescue workers, who say families have been left exposed in near freezing temperatures and heavy rains. Regional Emergency Director for the World Health Organization, Eastern Mediterranean Office, Rick Brenman.
You know, when you think of what's going on in Syria right now, you know, a long-standing humanitarian crisis, still getting over COVID, a huge economic crisis, cholera outbreak, and now this additional crisis in the context of a harsh winter and major fuel shortages. You know, it's almost like the perfect storm, and the convergence of all these crises is leading to enormous suffering.
The United Nations believes 2.9 million people in the region have been displaced and 1.8 million are living in camps. Akintunde Akinshemola for Osrc News.
To sports now. As part of activities to commemorate the 70th anniversary of Oyemekun Grammar School, Akure, the school's football team has emerged victorious against arch-rivals Aquinas College in a novelty match. Oyemekun Grammar School fought back from a goal down to claim a 3-2 victory against the visiting Aquinas team. Osrc Zaid Aribisala reports that the Oyemekun volleyball and basketball teams also edged out their visiting counterparts.
The newly renovated sports arena of Oyemekun Grammar School, Akure, was the venue for the school's football team to trade tackles with their counterpart from Aquinas College. The novelty football match, which was staged in commemoration of Oyemekun Grammar School's 70th anniversary, didn't fail to live up to expectation from the get-go, with both teams reawakening the rivalry between them in exciting fashion. In what was tagged a game of 2 equals, the visiting Aquinas team drew the first blood with a wonderfully converted goal to silence the rapturous home fans. To get his team back into the game from the sidelines, the Oyemekun team coach tinkered with his strategy, a move that eventually paid off, resulting in comeback.
Touch and play, plays the true ball.
With the game now balanced at 1-1, Oyemekun Grammar School stole the show once again with another goal to make the encounter 2-1 at halftime. At the restart of the second half, Aquinas rallied back to stay in the contest, bagging an equalizer to raise the atmosphere on and off the pitch. Despite losing a man to a second half red card, the persistence of the Oyemekun boys as the 90 minutes mark drew closer eventually paid off with a third goal, which sent the arena into celebration. 3-2, the encounter ended at the main goal of the Oyemekun Sports Center.
Actually, we started very slow, and after the first half of the game, we were able to re-strategize and we return all the glory to God that we became victorious.
We want to thank God firstly for the success of the match and for the weather. I want to thank the principal for the support for the school team.
For the old students of Oyemekun Grammar School, Akure, who came from far and near, seeing the students play brought back memories of old.
So this is our new sporting arena. You expect them to defeat us? No, it won't happen. Because we parade the best. We parade the best in athletics, in competitions, we parade the best. When they started, when Aquinas scored one, I was the one that was leading. Let's go and close the gate, as we used to do then. If they beat us, we would take it easy with them. You know, but it's just a fun on a more serious note. We just thank God.
It's a novelty match, and there has been a rivalry issue between Aquinas and Oyemekun. And no doubt about it, both teams have really tried.
Aside the football match, Oyemekun team also defeated their Aquinas counterpart in basketball and volleyball games. Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
And Stephen Chukwudi's goal has given Sunshine Stars Football Club of Akure the maximum 3 points at home against Bayelsa United in a match day 6 tie of the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL). Sunshine Stars dominated the game at the Ondo State Sports Complex with Archie Nemeka and Abdulaziz Ajagbe during the magic in the midfield to spur them to victory. Osrc's Benga Oluwajano now reports.
The match day 6 NPFL encounter saw Sunshine Stars rule many goal-scoring opportunities at the Ondo State Sports Complex in Akure. However, Chukwudi Stephen gave the host an early lead in the 4th minute of the first half, nodding to the top corner of the net from a cross. Both sides made incursions into each other's areas with beautiful football artistry, but the scoreline remained unchanged and to the advantage of Sunshine Stars. Speaking to journalists after the encounter, Sunshine Stars head coach Edith Agoye noted that grabbing the maximum point is very important to his side. Agoye urged fans to be patient with the team, stressing that goals will come soon in their numbers.
It's a very good one that the team, whenever we play, we create chances. Be it at home or be it in away games. That's a very good one from the team. And all we need to do now is to work extra at training sessions, push our players, and hopefully by the time they start to get the goals, they will be getting them in numbers.
Head coach of Bayelsa United, Dimipre Tebowe, picked the game as one of the best in the NPFL in recent time and commended the officiating officials for a superb job.
But I'm happy. It was a very good game. Both sides played some of the best games absolutely. The match officiating was perfectly alright. The game was very high standard. You see that even though we lost, I see that my boys showed class. So I think I'm happy with the game overall. It's just that Saturday I didn't go with the points. Hopefully next time I'll get some points.
Sunshine Stars are now 4th on the Group B table with 9 points, 3 adrift of the Super 6 cut-off zone. Benga Oluwajano, Osrc News.
To round up the news at 7, here again are the major stories. Youths in Digbolo Council area of Ondo State have staged a peaceful protest along Benin-Lagos Highway against scarcity of naira notes and fuel. We also told you that PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has visited Bauchi to flag off his campaign in the northeast. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has commissioned a 50 self-contained hostel complex built by Mr. Peter Fashua in honor of his late mother, Lady Evangelist Grace Bosede Akeredolu. And from the foreign scene, Turkey has announced a 3-month state of emergency in 10 provinces worst affected by the earthquake that has killed thousands of people. And that's it on the news at 7. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Good evening.